Ahead of an anticipated presidential election in Kenya, the United Nations and the African Union are appealing for peace as tensions build in the country. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres and Moussa Faki Mahamat, chair of the African Union Commission, are urging political factions to refrain from violence. The call for calm comes amid allegations by opposition leader Raila Odinga that the election will not be free and fair. Odinga says his party will boycott the rerun poll on Thursday. The call for peace from the UN and the AU came as Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta met Electoral Commission Chairman Wafula Chebukati to discuss the repeat vote. With only about 48 hours to go ahead of the vote, the campaign period is now officially closed. CGTN's Robert Nagila has been covering the developments here in Kenya. He joins me now here in studio. So Robert, of course we do know President Uhuru Kenyatta and the Chairman of the Electoral Commission held a meeting over the upcoming presidential poll. Do we know the details of that meeting?
Well, first of all, good evening, Penina. Let's put some context for our viewers on this particular story. Now, we know that late last week, the Electoral Commission chairman holds a press briefing, says that there's a lot of interference from both the ruling party and opposition through their commissioners of the Electoral Commission. And he wants to sit down with the principals, that's the opposition leader and the president, who are both candidates. Or that was, well, we know now that the opposition leader has dropped. Both candidates, the opposition leader, the president, had said they would not sit down with the Electoral Commission. However, on Thursday, Friday, the opposition leader, Raila Odinga, sat down with the Electoral Commission chairman, and he made it very clear that he has still withdrawn. He's not going to be on the ballot as far as he is concerned until there are reforms. So he just basically said that as far as they're concerned, there will be no elections held on the 26th of October. This morning, the president, despite having said that he had no business, he was not interested in meeting the chairman, met with the chairman, and we understand what came out of that meeting. We understand the president made it very clear to the Electoral Commission chairman he had no demands to make of the Electoral Commission. However, he expected them to do their job as per the law. That was it. It was a very short meeting, lasted about 20 minutes, and the president was off to campaign again. It does appear that the Electoral Commission chairman did not really get what he was expecting from either candidate. So we have to wait until he holds a press briefing. But at this particular moment, looks like we're still back to square one. Right, and that means, of course, the opposition leader, Mr. Odinga, like you mentioned, is still off the ballot papers on the 26th when we go to the rerun. What is he saying to his supporters, and how is it likely to impact the vote? Well, he has maintained this stand, which he has reiterated over and over the last 3 weeks, that there will be no elections held in this country until reforms are instituted within the Electoral Commission itself. Now, he has announced tomorrow, that is Tuesday, and Wednesday, protests against the Electoral Commission again. However, there are some question marks there because we know that the Electoral Commission has already gazetted the electoral schedule. So as it stands, really, from tomorrow, no political gathering is allowed. Now, whether a protest, whether a protest falls under that category remains to be seen. Sorry. I beg your pardon. So he has maintained that stand, and he is sticking to it. Yeah, go ahead. Okay. I don't know, can you continue? Can you take another question, or do you need a break? No, I'm good. Good. Okay, so let's wrap up quickly. So there's been voices of concern as we approach the 26th. What is the wider expectation on what will happen on that particular day? Well, Penina, I beg your pardon. There's a lot of worry out there. I seem to be losing my voice. There's a lot of worry out there of violence. There have been concerns expressed by, I beg your pardon, there's been concerns expressed by envoys, diplomatic community really. We've seen the government come out as well and warn any agitators on that particular day that they will be dealt with according to the law. At this particular moment, nobody really knows what will happen, but it all depends on Mr. Odinga and whether he will call his supporters out on election day to protest. Because there's a likelihood that they may disrupt the process. We've already seen his sister, a former deputy governor in his stronghold of Kisumu, Kenya's third largest city, has already been arrested today and arraigned before a court for inciting supporters to disrupt the process. So it depends really with the announcement he is scheduled to make on Wednesday on the way forward.
All right. We appreciate you soldiering on to give us those insights, Robert. Thank you very much, Robert Nagila, in studio with us.